Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss how to represent an infographic which is easy to control. So for example, I am supposed to represent this information in the form of a picture such that it is easier to understand. 95% of the servers were decommissioned. I show that in the form of this picture it has 23 servers and 95% of 23 converts to 1. Converts to 22. Therefore, 22 of them are shown in gray and one of them is shown in blue, which is still functioning. So now if suppose this value changes, it will be very difficult for me to modify this picture probably using paint or whatever. Therefore, I want some kind of chart which I can easily control. Say by changing one particular value, the representation in the chart should change. Right? For example, if I want 85% of the servers to be represented, these 3 servers over here on the top should convert into blue automatically. So let's see how we can do that. Go to insert and we are going to insert a chart which is a special chart. So we're going to click on this combo. Okay. And one of the series 3, we are going to plot on the secondary axis. So I'm just going to check mark this box. And this series, the one on the secondary axis, is going to be a clustered bar, okay? And the remaining 2 are going to be stacked, okay? Right, so this is stacked and this was clustered. So this is something like this. Click on OK. I don't need category 4, delete it. Okay, before I delve into the Excel part of it, let's make this chart more legible so that we are able to relate it to what we want to represent. So I'm going to click on this bar, okay, and I'm just going to make the gap fit as 35%. So now the 3 series are easily seen. This is series 2, series 1, and this is series 3. Okay. Now let's change the colors first. Let's make it anything. This one will be gray because we want the decommissioned servers to look gray, and this one will be blue because we want the other servers to be blue. This will serve as our baseline, and here we are going to enter the image of the servers. So let's first create the image of a server. Let's see how we can do that. Insert the shape of a cuboid first, then another rectangle, and just make it like a fine line. Place it here on the edge. You'll have to make fine adjustments there. Control D, now the copy, place it on the bottom edge. Control D, I've taken 2 copies so that I can keep it here. And another line over here. I make another copy, rotate it 90 degrees and place it on this edge. Just extend it a bit so that it is easier for us to select this shape later on. Now we want 2 more. This needs to be parallel to the other end. Keep it on this edge, Control D, keep it on the other edge. Now first select the cuboid and then click on the rest of the shapes by holding down Control button. Click on Format, Merge Shapes and Subtract. I think I left this one. Click on this, Subtract. So we have got a rough image of a server. We'll make slight changes to this shape. Control D. Make it slightly smaller, outer square, inner square, merge shapes, subtract. reduce the size, place it inside. Place it inside. Click on the cuboid, click on the rectangle and the line, again subtract. Okay, so I've got the image of the server. Now bring it to front. Place it inside this larger square. Okay, I'm just going to change the color so that we are able to clearly see what we are doing. Okay, so just change the outline to no outline, and now I'm going to first select the square and then select the cuboid using control button and subtract. So now what I've done is that the insides of the cuboid are now hollow. So wherever I place this particular image, the insides of the cuboid or the white portion will take the color of the background, whereas this portion will take the color whichever I fill in. So right now I'm just going to make it white. Although the image is not visible, but the image exists. So now we are supposed to insert this image into these bars, right? So click on the image, Control C, click on the bars, right click, Format Data Series, and fill picture or texture. Now you can see that the picture of the server is appearing over here, but we do not want it this way. Click on Stack and Scale With, right? And that's it. So we have got our picture of the server where we want it. Now let's change the limits of the axis. Now since we have got 10 servers over here, 10, so the maximum limit that we're going to keep for a horizontal axis is 10 and the minimum is 0. So let's do that manually. Right click, Format Axis, 0, and the other value is 10. Similarly change this. So Format Axis, the low one is 0 and the high one is 10. Make sure that you enter these values and just not leave it be, because when you actually try to edit this, you will see that 0 appears in the auto mode as well. But then make sure that you enter it, because later on when you play around with this chart, if the minimum is chosen as 0 and it is set on auto, then the minimum keeps changing. So make sure that you enter that value and then proceed from there. So now we've got the chart prepared. Okay, now you can see that the servers are appearing here, and since the center portion was hollow, if this particular series extends, a few of the servers are going to take blue color as well, right? So now all we have to do is play with the numbers. So right click on this, let's go to the Excel chart now. Edit data, right? So I'm going to edit it in Excel. Right. So keep a look, keep looking at the chart. Okay, I'm going to just fill in some color over here so that we're able to see that some kind of picture exists. Make it like red. Have a look at the chart as I change the numbers over here. Okay, so the first thing that we start with is a percentage value, a percentage decommission value. This is going to be my input. This is the value that any user can change, and the format of the number will be percentage. The other is the number of servers. Number of servers is 23. Now I'm going to create a column called main series. This is equal to the percentage decommission multiplied by total number of servers. So let's enter some value over here so that we are able to see what is going on. So if we are saying that 85% of the total number of servers are decommissioned, that means 19.55 servers are decommissioned. That means we need to show 19.55 servers or blocks on this particular chart in gray, and the remaining, that is total is 23 minus 19.5 as blue, right? So, but I want to show it as whole numbers, so I'll convert this to rounded up values. The formula is round up the number, comma 0, since I want it to be a whole number. Select Control D. Okay, sorry. Since these are fixed, I'll have to click on F4 in order to make them all fixed. Control D. Similarly, I select this, Control D. So these are the values that I have. Now, let's create a baseline. Now the baseline is my series 3 actually over here. Okay, if I right click on 3 here, 10, 10, you can see that the secondary axis is changing, since series 3 was the series that I created on the secondary axis. So you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 servers are shown over here, but actually this line extends beyond 7, it extends up to 10 servers, but we are not able to see since they are in white color. Okay. Now, the next thing is important. Now, this is my gray servers. Here I have my blue servers. Now, this is where I'm going to insert a formula and then later on explain how the formula works. So this is equal to if rounded up value is less than equal to 3, then return the rounded up value, else return 3. Right. So let's explain this formula. So let's consider that some initial value, which is, let's say 15%. Okay, 10%, let's take it as 5%, so that the value that I'm getting here is 2. Okay, so now the formula here goes that if G2, that is 2 is less than 3, yes, so it is going to return you the value of 2. And the gray servers, that is this line, the series in gray over here is going to extend to 2 units. Therefore, it is going to make 2 servers which are on the secondary axis gray, and the remaining server are going to be blue, right? Now, although I do not have the formula at present for the blue servers, but you'll see how it works later on. So that's how this formula works. Similarly, I have created logic for the other cells as well. It will be if the rounded up value minus 3 is greater than or equal to 1, then return the rounded up value minus 3, else return 0, right? So let's understand this formula as well. Now let's just say we enter 30%, right? So now what happens is I've got a rounded up value. So if I say 30%, so 30% of 23 comes out to be 6.9, rounded up to 7. So 7, if that means I'm supposed to show 7 servers in gray and the remaining in blue, right? So the bottom 3 are going to be gray as is already shown. And then on the next row, another 4 servers are going to be shown in gray, right? So now what I do here is if 7 minus 3 is 4, 4 is greater than 1, then it will return you the value of 4, right? Now, if the value had been less than 1, say, in case our value was say 5% and the value here came out to be 2, and if 2 minus 3 is minus 1 is less than 1, that means it is going to return 0. So none of the servers in the second row are going to turn to gray. So that's how the formula works. On similar lines, I'm going to write formula for this as well. So is equal to if rounded up value minus 13 is greater than equal to 1, then rounded up value minus 13, else 0. Okay, so if I enter 85%, that is how it's going to look. Okay, now I'm going to enter the value for blue servers. So this will be equal to 3 minus this. This is equal to 10 minus this. This is equal to 10 minus this, right? So that's how, and as I changed the values over here, it actually changed the chart over here as well. So that's how my chart looks right now. And I'm just going to make some changes over here. format, data series. I'm going to change it. So for the primary axis over here, the gap width is 35%. I'm going to make the gap width for the secondary axis also. So just click on this in the center on the bar which contains the servers and make the gap width here as 35% also, so that your servers fit exactly into the primary axis. The width of both of them are same. So we've got the chart. It's just that a few adjustments have to be made here. I don't want the grid lines, so go to format, go to design, add chart elements, grid lines. So as you can see that this is selected, the primary major vertical is selected. Just deselect this, so the grid lines are gone. And another thing is that in the previous image, in this image, you saw that the server on the left was blue, whereas here, since the axis runs from 0 on the left to 10 on the right, therefore the servers from the right will be turned to blue. I don't want it that way, I want it the other way around. So how can I do it? In that case, just click on the axis, first any of the axes, the primary or the secondary axis. You just have to click on axis options and values in reverse order. Click on that. Similarly, just do it for the secondary axis as well. Click on the axis, right click, format axis, values in the reverse order. And there we have our chart. Just remove all these details that we don't need. Just click on those and delete. Right? So we've got a chart with a nice chart here. If you want to actually make them closer, you can change the gap width also. You can increase the gap width so that they're a little closer to each other. Right? Similarly, go to the and then just decrease the size, and there we have our chart. So now we can see that if I enter any value, 5%, it changes, 10%, say I write 50%, 80%, and 100%. If I say 100% of them are decommissioned, all of them turn to gray. Thank you very much.